Good evening, folks. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University, a site for legacy death and taxes. Today we're going to be doing a donation stream. We're going to be playing some Red Prison, Moon Stompy, whatever you want to call it. If you're curious about how I did at GP Atlanta, I ended up 53rd out of, I think it was like 1,025 people, which was good for about $300. So relatively happy with my finish. How's my webcam doing? Am I going to be in frame here? Yes, I am. I did some moving around of things today, and I had to make sure everything still looks okay. Anyway, GP Atlanta went really well. I was really happy with the deck list that I played there. Just to flash that on screen real quick, this is what I was working with in Atlanta, minus that mother friends that's not actually there. Was super impressed with Tomek in particular over the course of the weekend. I posted about a 20-minute video which kind of goes over some of my tournament experience and kind of like what all was happening there. Although I'm very happy to field questions about the event over the course of today. And Felchmaster, thank you very much for your continued support. You are up to 19 continuous months now, which is just absolutely crazy. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, happy with the GP finish. It's, it's on par with my other GP finishes. I think it was like 48th and 58th or something like that at Louisville and Richmond. So like this is, 100% the sort of finish that I was hoping for. You always hope for the top 8, but, cashing with a record like that is totally fine. So today we're going to be playing Red Prison. Pronunciation might be off here, but this is Justin Kuo's list from the GP, which I rather like. So talking about some of the elements of this deck list in particular, this is kind of a generalist list. This one isn't overly sort of specialized in any one direction. If you kind of take a look at some of the numbers here, there's 3 Trinispheres. Sorry, there's 2 Trinispheres, 3 Bridges, 3 Karns, 4 War Bosses, and a Hazaret. So if you kind of like look at the things that are going on in the flex slot here, this is meant to be a build that is sort of like flexible and still powerful. It's sacrificing a little bit in a couple of different directions to fit in a bunch of utility. If you take a look at what I was playing back in July, this build was much more specialized. What this one was trying to do was get a lot of free wins off of Trinisphere while also having some main deck answers to things like Delver of Secrets. So this list was specialized. And if we take a look at the list that I'm playing today, it's much more generic in comparison. So I think this is a good sort of deck list to go and take into a generic field. So this is one of 2 videos that I'm going to be doing this week with Red Prison. I will be doing this stream to show off a league, and then we'll be doing a separate video that will be a primer on sort of like concerns of Red Prison at the moment and approaches to a few matchups. On that note, thank you very much to Jesse M for supporting both of those videos with a generous donation. As far as things that I don't like in this deck list, the only thing that I don't like in the deck list is the Walking Ballista in the sideboard. I'm not keen on playing that card right now in Death and Taxes, and I think it's also pretty medium here. I kind of think that this should just be either a second Chandra Awakened Inferno or a third Scab Clan Berserker. But that's an opinion, and I want to try out the 75 before I make any changes to this one. Ant is the best legacy deck. Changed my mind. Don't think I can do that. Don't think I can do that at all. Oh man, did I finally exhaust my supply of play points I got from opening chests? That's surprising. I sure did. I sure did. Oh, why don't we open a couple of chests just for giggles? Let's open one. Dragon Skull Summit and Collective Brutality. Not bad. Let's keep going. Less good there. Broodmate Dragon. Legacy All-Star question mark? Not so much. Please let me get to 100 play points. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That looks bad. Wait, no, not GP D&T version 3. I would like to play the Moonstompy list. There we go. Yeah, I mean, Cyrus had an awesome run, and Cyrus is an incredible player and a great guy. Really, really happy to see the results that he got with the deck that weekend. I've thought for a long time that Ant is one of the best Legacy decks, just unquestionably, and that's why I spent some time trying to go and learn it. I got okay, not confident enough that I'd bring it to a big event with serious amounts of prizes on the line, but confident enough that I feel like I would not make a fool of myself if I were on camera playing Ant. We're going to keep this hand. It has turn 1 Chalice into turn 2 Trinisphere or Magus of the Moon. Probably Trinisphere, based on the texture of this hand. Because if we play Trinisphere early, then we get, like, potentially uncounterable Chandra on turn 3. And I'm very happy to just slam Trinisphere in the face of whatever is going on with this polluted delta. So we win. So we win. And I'm playing against Polluted Delta. Was that Richmond, Bentley? I feel like that was Richmond. Against Polluted Delta, I feel like I probably want Scab Clans, and Ensnaring Bridges are probably a little bit questionable. So, like, if this is Ant, I would probably board in a few more cards, but I don't know that I'm really confident enough in assessing what my opponent's deck is at this point that I'm willing to just specifically board for something. Oh, that one was Louisville. Okay, yeah. Hard to remember. I've done so well at so many different Grand Prix. Just kidding. I've done okay for myself. We'll get one of those elusive top 8 finishes later. So I think I'm okay with sending all the bridges to the board, and I kind of just want to board in something that will let me know what my opponent is playing. I feel like Sorcerer Spyglass is an okay catch-all, and if it's going to be bad, it's not going to be that bad, because it's still like a colorless peak. Part of me just wants to board for Ant, but I'm willing to just be wrong. Opponent is mulliganed. I will keep this hand. My hand is very strong. I get turn 1 Chalice into turn 2 War Boss into turn 3 Chandra in all likelihood. Okay, so maybe sneak and show with what we've seen then. Top with Preordain. There's a very real argument here for just playing Rabblemaster into War Boss, by the way. And just, like, trying to aggro my opponent out since I don't know what they're doing. I still think this is going to be worth the turn, though. Oh, maybe it is still Storm. Okay. So math. If I play land, I can cast Chandra into Goblin Ravelmaster. Or sorry, if I play land and Chrome Mox. Which I think is okay. So now I have something else that can dig me for other hate pieces, because one hate piece is like never really enough in these sorts of matchups. You know, one decay, one echoing truth, or something like that puts you pretty far behind. That I'm super happy to see. We'll still plus Chandra first. Snap yes to that. Putting that at 2 is probably the most detrimental to my opponent, because it will shut off some of the outs that they have to my board. I would not blame someone for casting that on 0. So now, since I have a Chalice on 2, I can't actually cast a Chalice on 1. So that probably just means I'm going to want to go and cast my Chalice on 0. And yes, I do know that I have 2 0 drops in my hand. I'm aware of how that math works out there. But I just need to prevent my opponent from winning the game for about 2 turns. Chrome Mox. And I'd rather just have this Rabblemaster around. So there are worlds where I can lose the game from here. I am at 14 due to all the damage that I've dealt to myself via Ancient Tomb. So, like, there are worlds that just involve a string of cantrips, dark rituals, and a natural tendrils that could have killed me, but those worlds are few and far between. I like whatever 75 Cyrus is playing. I've played a lot of his lists in the past, and they always felt very well tuned. If you're following Storm content and you're not already following Cyrus on Twitter, I highly recommend it. Pinned to his Twitter, he has sort of like his live, like living document of how he sideboards with Storm, which I've thought was super useful. Well, I'll be keeping this one. My opponent has mulliganed. And it's a little awkward in that, like, I'm kind of all in on, like, Blood Moon plus Rabblemaster getting there. Chancellor of the Annex. Okay. All right. Am I going all in on a Blood Moon here? So I can go land Chrome Mox, don't play for the Chrome Mox, Fiery Confluence, and then Blood Moon them. Note that normally Blood Moon is very bad against Reanimator, but here we are, seeing if this is going to work. Oh, baby. It feels like it's going to work. Oh, yeah. We're gonna turn some goblins sideways this game, folks. Just throwing it out there, Goblin Rabblemaster is really bad against Grizzlebrand because, like, the goblins will just attack into it. This will be a flashback, Faithless Looting. Nope, they don't see it. Or they choose not to do it. We have a clock. I mean, I feel relatively dirty right now. Ooh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. So, real questions here. Am I going to kill my opponent? So if I attack in with Goblin Rabblemaster, and like if I attack in with everything, my opponent will block Goblin Rabblemaster. My opponent will gain 6 life, going to 13. I will deal 5, 6, 7 damage. I can discard this land. So these goblins have to attack. The question becomes, like, do I want to throw away the Goblin Rabblemaster so the goblins don't have to attack in the future? I think the answer is yes. So we're just going to pass with the ability to activate Hazaret up. I don't really know if my opponent can attack. I don't think they can. If they attack, they go up to 11. If they draw 7, they go down to 4, and then they're just dead to double Hazoret activation. So I think I very likely win the game if my opponent attacks. But if they don't attack, I have them dead in 3 Hazoret activations. So I don't really know what to do there from the opponent's perspective without having more information. So yeah, so now they probably have to attack. Okay, so they draw 7, that puts them at 2, and I kill them in response, yeah. Alright, so we're playing against Reanimator. So we want ley lines. We want Scab Clan. We probably want Spyglass and Bridge, and whether or not we board the Tormod's Crypt is a little questionable, because leaving the Tormod's Crypt in the board means that each copy of Karn is an additional Tormod's Crypt, but just like having this in the opening hand and playing it out early is also just huge. So a lot of times when I'm on the play, I'll board it, or sorry, when I'm on the draw, I'll board it in. When I'm on the play, I'll leave it out. As far as boarding for this matchup goes, a lot of your stuff that's slower isn't super necessary. So, like, we don't really need to grind value with this card over time. If I board out all of the... If I board in all of my artifact stuff, my Karns become much worse as well. Blood Moon's also very bad. Like, it worked that game, don't get me wrong, but that's probably not where we really need to be. I need to leave a wish target in the sideboard for Karn. And I think I'm going to leave a bridge there. So this will leave me with the 8 rabble effects as quick ways to close the game, plus Scab Clans. And then I have a decent amount of assorted hate of various types, and I think I'm okay with this. Again, it's kind of questionable, like, which one of these cards I want to be leaving in the board for Karn purposes, but I think I'm going to do it like this. What do you mean? The moons are fixed. They're white bordered for extra tilt. Keep. This is an absolutely stellar opening hand, by the way. I'm sure that's very obvious. Alright, unmask me, pitch a Grizzlebrand. Sure. So my opponent is very low on resources now. We'll see what they can do. Opponent might have it all this game. But if they can, like, turn to me with Reverent Silence and Unmask, like, they deserve it. They get this one. No, they don't have it yet. All right. I get to start the clock, but it's very possible that my opponent now just has like a 2-drop reanimation spell in hand that they couldn't play last turn. And then I'm going to have like a little goblin boy attacking into a Grizzlebrand, and that's going to be no good. We shall see. Yep. So the goblins that I make each turn are going to be forced to attack, which is quite unfortunate. So it's going to be my goal to try to empty my hand to find like an ensnaring bridge or a sorceress spyglass. Yeah, healing the opponent for 7 each turn is an unconventional line, but it's one that I've chosen to take here. Well, a Schnorn, you say? Oh, that is no bueno. So I can still win with like Karn plus like Lattice or Ballista or something like that. So if I bridge, I still do have potential win conditions. This is rough though. A Chancellor of the Annex. My opponent has many Reverent Silences. I'm going to get a Legion War Boss. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Why isn't it there? Meanie face. Okay, Goblin Rival Master. We're very, very dead here. So now when I'm on the play, I'm going to put the Tormod's Crypt in the board because it's more likely that I can actually just like cast a turn 1 or turn 2 Karn and like go and get it. And then bring the other bridge into the main deck. I wouldn't say never lucky, right? Like we opened on an opening hand with Leyline and Tormod's Crypt, as well as a threat. Like that's perfectly lucky. But my opponent had a very good hand to counter me. Keep. A Chancellor, you say? It would be a real shame. I think I want to cast this Magus of the Moon on turn 2. So, it'd be a real shame if someone just got rid of that Chancellor trigger. So one of the most likely things that my opponent can do here is like go and fetch a forest to set up for Reverent Silence. And if they do so, the Magus of the Moon like totally gets them on turn 2. Oh, baby. We're throwing that in play before the Magus. if I play Magus first, I can't guarantee an Ensnaring Bridge next turn, and I really want this in play. With my opponent having the basic Swamp and multiple Lotus Petals, it's not really like I'm going to cut them off colors. Well, my opponent can now cast a Phyrexian Obliterator with all that mana they got going on over there. All right. So now we have to start doing some card management. Like, we have our own Ensnaring Bridge to think about. So I do this to go ahead and like push my damage this turn. And then I'll play out the War Boss. And then next turn, my 1/1 goblin can attack. Yeah, Serenity would be awfully sick. And I think I just want to hold this Spyglass. It's close. So now I'll go ahead and Sorcerer Spyglass. And we don't have too much to worry about over there. I feel like we're in pretty good shape. Yep, there we go. So we're up to a quick 2-0 start to this league. Feeling good about the list. Kind of as always, Red Prison is one of the best things that you can be doing against combo. Because not only do you have these powerful lock pieces, but you also have a very swift clock to go and back them up. And that's part of the reason why I've always liked playing with like the 8 Rabble effects. I feel like they just go and give you the possibility of closing out games quickly, even when your lock pieces aren't necessarily permanent. So versus Black-Red Reanimator there, for example, our opponent did have the ability to wiggle through any one of those individual pieces. But not when we just kill them in about 3 turns. This one's going to be a mulligan. We do nothing with this, and we can't take advantage of the fact that I'm on the play. Yikes. Okay. So, turn 1, Mountain, Chromox, Imprint, Hazaret, Chalice of the Void. Throwing back a Chromox and having a second Chromox in hand that's probably dead. This is probably good enough to keep, but I'm not excited about it. Hey, Darkdew, welcome. Hope all is well with you. Enjoyed chatting via Discord earlier. Eluded Delta again. Friend, how do you feel about Magus of the Moon? Do you feel like Fetch Island? I feel like you feel like Fetch Island. Oh, Fetch Swamp. Fancy. Bosk, yes I did. I don't remember who the pilot was. Was it Atai? He was doing pretty well earlier on in the day. Oh yeah, Hell Clan. I'm all about this life. I do think it is worth just casting this out as a 2/2 rather than like putting it under the Chrome Mox. So it seems like we're going to be playing against a 3 to 4 color control snow deck. Yeah, I want to play Atai's list on stream at some point, I think. He was on like a quad laser for Sanctum Prelate build, I believe. We talked about it a little bit in between rounds. It doesn't take much convincing for me to want to go and play some humans. I love me some Ether Vials. Our opponent could be on like honest to goodness Jund. Hmm. Yeah, I'm burritoed up in a blanket here. I don't really know that I care about my opponent's Renin 6 as much as I care about their life total. I do recognize how good Renin 6 is, but I don't really think I'm taking it off the table in a timely fashion. Like, my opponent will kill this Spirit Guide, so I'd rather like work on getting my opponent into range where they will die to like Fiery Confluence or something like that. I think that gives me better overall EV towards winning this match. Alright, let's see if we can lock them out even more spells. We have. I haven't seen Harley in quite some time. I didn't see basically any of the Roanoke crew in Atlanta, which was a little unfortunate. I thought Sean would come for sure. He loves Atlanta. I guess I'm playing this Ensnaring Bridge now. I guess that's the sort of game that this is going to become. My opponent's Renin 6 isn't actually all that scary. Like, I have a Chalice on 1 and a Chalice on 2. Even if they get the emblem, this isn't really the scariest thing in the world unless they also have something like Abrupt Decay or Colligan's Command to answer my first Chalice. My opponent is at the point of discarding. That probably means okay things for me. That's very good. That's very, very good. We'll see if it resolves. Oh, it does. Wow. So, do I want to put an artifact into my hand this turn? I don't think that I do. I think I'm just going to plus with no target and pass my turn. So I don't really think my opponent has Force of Will, otherwise they would have just gotten rid of my Karn when they had the opportunity to. So unless they drew Force of Will for turn, I feel pretty safe. I'm hoping to spike a land here. I did not. So I can't get any of the 2-drops. They would get countered by Chalice. I can just go for Lattice Lock here by imprinting this War Boss, though. And it was really that easy. My opponent did not have any counter magic. Well, great. I thought that game was going to be much more difficult than it was. So I definitely want the Chandra Awakened Inferno. My ensnaring bridges are pretty medium. Like, my opponent has small creatures that I don't really care all that much about. Like, wishing for one of these is totally fine. I probably want to leave my Spyglass, my Lattice, and my Coding all in the board to wish for. So then I need 2 things for sure to fill out the slots that I'm emptying by taking out my bridges. I probably wouldn't mind just hard casting a Ballista, and Scab Clan Berserker is probably okay as well. Walking Ballista versus Scab Clan Berserker, which one of those is better here, is a little tricky. Like, leaving this in the board gives me something that I can wish for when I'm a little bit behind on board and I need to, like, clean some stuff up. So it might just be better to board this in the first place. Hand is great. Like, I kind of wish one of my opponent is mulliganed. I kind of wish one of my 4-drops was another red land or like a Spirit Guide or something. But like, I really can't complain about having a hand that has turn 1 Chalice into turn 2 Moon. Yeah. So while I didn't get to see much of the Roanoke crew, I did see a lot of friends, especially like fellow content creators. Like I got to meet Eric for the first time in person, which was really nice. No shuffle there. Ooh, now life is more interesting because I can imprint something on turn 1. And instead of going for turn 1 Chalice, I could go for turn 1 Blood Moon. And doing that before my opponent has a chance to fetch a second color is very strong. I think I'm going to pitch my Hazaret here, because I don't know that I'm going to have the guarantee of getting to 4 mana. And I'd rather have this to play as a follow-up. So I'm Lord Darfew. I might not get to 4 mana immediately, since I'm going to turn my Ancient Tomb into a mountain. I was pivoting away from the Chalice of the Void plan for turn 1. Okay, well that's a line. Scab Clan Berserker versus Chalice of the Void is pretty close here. I think I just want a Chalice of the Void this turn. It helps to protect the Scab Clan, and it also means that if I draw a land, I can also consider like playing the Karn out rather than just the Scab Clan initially. Just like that. Okay, so now do I actually want to cast the Karn this turn? I cast the Karn. I'm just immediately minusing getting Liquid Metal Coating. If my opponent has Snapcaster, I still live through that. But just putting the Scab Clan Berserker in play early is huge. I think both lines are great. I think the Karn line is scarier, though. Let's take that. Thank you very much, Mr. Pink. Yeah, really happy with my performance. The deck felt very good all weekend. I know a lot of people have been down on D&T recently, but you know, my finish goes to show you that if you make good deck building decisions and you actually change your deck to fight the metagame, you can do fine. Newbie Doobie VR, thank you very much for throwing your support this way. You can enjoy your sweet Thalia emote. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping to improve on previous GP finishes, and this ended up being about the same as my other finishes. So, you know, I can't be mad with a good finish at $300. I am glad the GP is over though, because now I can focus on like some of the donation deck lists that I've gotten, and I can focus on like bringing some old decks out of the closet that I really want to play again. So like Jesse M donated for this stream. Someone donated in person at the GP to see Maverick over the weekend, and then like I maybe want to play like some slivers, some humans, some loam. You know, the sort of decks that I really enjoy, but that like maybe haven't gotten love on the channel recently. So, where's that other window? While I'm waiting here. Yeah, so I've gotten. I was talking to people on Twitter right before this about like Maverick deck list. Is a Twitch Prime sub any worse than a paid Tier 1 sub? No. For me, it is worth exactly the same amount to me. Essentially, Amazon and Twitch have a partnership where they work together. All right. Before the next round, we'll talk about Maverick a little bit because I want to talk about some of the deck lists that people were showing me. Is Asaurus still playing that like Urza deck? Is that what they were on? Because if that's the case, then I've got to think. So Mystic Forge combo recently, actually. If that's the case, this hand is like really not beating them. Well, Amazon owns Twitch. Hellforge, you make a good point there. So I really want to get a Chalice on 0 in this matchup badly, and I can't do anything on turn 1 anyway here. I don't really know that like a turn 2 Blood Moon hand is good enough if I don't have a real follow-up play. So I go like Mountain, Chrome Mox, Imprint, Blood Moon, turn 2 Blood Moon, then I have 3 mana. I can't play either one of these cards. I'm going to mulligan this one. Yes, we beat Reanimator. I'm going to ship this one as well. I will keep the turn 2 Trinisphere hand. I accept this. So what am I sending away on this hand? I think it's these. I think my plan here is to just go 3-ball into Chandra, use Chandra for my mana for the rest of this game. And if that plan doesn't work, so be it. And they're going. See, and I thought Chalice on 0 was great against their deck. Okay, just turn 1 Karn Great Creator. Destroying the Chalice of the Void. I like it. I like that play. Good stuff. Any idea what RGZ is? My opponent said that in the chat, and I'm just not familiar with that acronym. All right. Oh, thanks. Just typing off a row. I see. So this whole City of Traders situation is very bad for me right now. So I really need to play out another land so that I can like hope to play this like Rabblemaster out in 2 turns if I hit another land. But I'm essentially throwing away a land in order to do that. So that just means I get Mycosynth Lattice locked very quickly here. Good game. Okay, so side note, just like throwing this out there because it's cool. So this makes everything colorless, so you can't really like successfully imprint Goblin Rabble Master on Chrome Mox during this. Not that the Chrome Mox could make mana anyway, but like throwing it out there. All right. Abrades seem good here. Scab Clans seem at least okay. Probably even play this. I'll probably leave the coding in, or sorry, I'll probably leave the Spyglass in the board to wish for. Yeah, Force of Example is a much better example of when that interaction matters. So my opponent does have, like, basically mono lands that have abilities, so Blood Moon is not, like, dead against them. Ensnaring Bridge is probably something that I don't want. I'll probably still Moon them. They have bridges that I'm going to need to think about. My Chrome Mox get a little worse because of opposing Karn, but not bad enough that I think I want to board them out. Maybe let's go down one beater here. No, I think I want to leave Spyglass in the board to wish for. I think it's better than okay. Like if you Spyglass Karn, I think that's insane. It's like kind of awkward because it's like you use your own Karn to shut off their Karns, but I think it's very powerful. Like they basically have 8 cards in their deck that matter. 4 of them are named Karn Recreator. And then I think we'll just like trim one of these to round things out. It's also possible that I should trim a Blood Moon effect. This is going to be a keep. We've got to moon them. So by keeping this hand, I'm basically saying that I think my Chalice on 0 plus my Legion War Boss is enough to win this match. This is just a ton of pressure that if they're going for like a turn 2 Karn or something like that, I can probably go wide of it. The fact that they have Ancient Tomb as one of their primary lands here also doesn't necessarily help them. Okay. All right, opponent, you're at 5. Can you do something sweet with your mana? You can, like, Ensnaring Bridge. Can you play another card? You can. So the better question is, can you continue to play all of your cards? Because as soon as you can't, goblins will likely kill you. 3, 6, 7. I don't necessarily need to play my Chrome Mox into my own Chalice of the Void here. I will just continue to make goblins. Ugh. That gaining life is so relevant. Yeah, I might be dead this one. My opponent might just like plus again, then make a Mycosynth Lattice or something and kill me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess it's not immediate. I can't really play this. Oh wait, I can do something this turn. No, I can't. Chrome Mox is dead due to Karn. Yeah, I think I just lost to this deck. Okay, are there any cards in their deck that they couldn't actually cast without like killing themselves? So now they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5 base mana each turn. They're not going to have anything that's that expensive. Plus they have like this and this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and concede this one here. They've got it. Well, that was impressive. Like, admittedly, I didn't draw lands to have follow up pressure there, and like just a tiny bit more follow up pressure would have probably done my opponent in. This is a deck that really shows off the power of the London Mulligan, though. So like, I think they mulligan both games, and like I had Chalice and a great threat on turn 1, and it was not enough. Yeah, so like if I had stuck another creature, a planeswalker, you know, something like that, I think I would have pretty handily won the game. But, you know, I didn't, and here we are. Yeah, so it's interesting because they're pretty well suited for the Chalice Mirror outside of Karn, though, because they can use their Karns to blow up the Chalices on 0, which otherwise are pretty good against them. But then, like, the Karn just shuts off, like, literally everything they do. I forgot to talk about Maverick. We'll do it after this game. Are we just rabbling? So, turn 1, Mox, Imprint, Hazaret, Goblin Rabblemaster. Am I good with that? I think I'm good with that. Like, it's definitely a medium quality hand. But I think medium is good enough on the draw when my opponent is mulliganing. Oh, yeah, totally agreed. My opponent's deck is awesome. My opponent's deck in the last round. My opponent has mulligan to 4, so maybe we're playing against, like, Reanimator or something like that, and this turn 1 bridge will just absolutely destroy them. Oh, well, I'm going to have to host him after this is done, then. Okay, what do I do? What do I do against Forest Go off of Mull to 4? Like, what am I supposed to think of that? I think I just want to curve turn 1 Ravelmaster into turn 2 Hazaret. But I like legit don't know what deck my opponent would be on. Something like Elves doesn't mulligan that far. Something like Infect is very unlikely to just lead on Forest. It's super rare for Maverick to mulligan to 4. Okay, so we're playing against some sort of lands or depths deck. Boy, if my opponent is just going to be like all in on Maze of Ith, I don't know about that. It's probably just lands, not depths. Not 100% sure, but probably. Okay, Goblin Lackey, how did you know it was mono green post? Like, legit curious. Called shot. This turn's very interesting. So I can go City of Traders, Chrome Mox, Imprint, Chandra, Hazaret, and attack. Or I can just go Chrome Mox, Imprint, Chandra, play City, plus. I don't know which is better. I think just playing Hazaret is better because then any red card can become Chandra afterwards. Well, no. So like I get to do one of these two this turn, or I get to like play Hazaret and not attack. That's the issue here. I think I like this way. This way doesn't require me to lose any life and presents two different threats to Maze of Ith. 100% would not blame anyone for going the other direction on this call, though. I just think this is going to clock my opponent the fastest, which is what I care about when they're stumbling. The upside of doing Chandra is that it can find something like a Blood Moon or a Magus of the Moon to just, like, obliterate everything my opponent could possibly do. Goblin Laggy, I'm still convinced you're a psychic. It is the only explanation. Thanks, Goblin Lackey. Hoping to make a 4-1 out of this. So now I need to see if my opponent has something like Glacial Chasm that they can go and search up. If yes, that buys them a little bit of time, but it's super awkward. No activation on the expedition map. That's very interesting. So I think I'm supposed to throw this in response in case they get Glacial Chasm. That hits us both for 2. Haha. So I guess this sacrifices their Maze of It since it's not going to produce mana. So this is cumulative upkeep of pay 2 life. And I can just like keep Hazoret activations back. So that whenever that Glacial Chasm leaves play, I actually do just kill my opponent. They can play some more Glimmer Posts to buy a little bit of time, but it feels like I've got this one locked up. That Pithing Needle's gonna name my Hazoret. It's so sad. So I'm going to hold this back just in case I need it for something. I have very, very much lethal. Okay, Thespian Stage copies Cloud Post. Sure. But Thespian Stage is going to also immediately copy Glacial Chasm. So you need another Glimmer Post this turn to pay for Glacial Chasm, or otherwise another Thespian Stage to kind of like buy you another turn. But life's not necessarily great here. Copy Cloud Post, not Glimmer Post? Question mark? Maybe I'm missing something. But that feels very bad. Okay. I'm just going to hold that. Because getting another red source might mean that I can, like, blow up the Pithing Needle and activate Hazaret in the same turn. Yeah, you can play something big and scary, and that's totally fine. And now I just have lethal with the Fiery Confluence. My opponent's hellbent. We're taking that Pithing Needle out on the way out. Just to send a message. Just to send a message. Alright, so what do we want against Post? A fast clock seems good. This big derpy thing might be good. Braids to destroy artifacts seem fine. This to shut off planeswalkers and such seems fine. I don't really know my opponent's exact build. So I don't know how creature heavy versus how permanent, or sorry, I don't know how creature heavy versus how planeswalker heavy my opponent's deck is. So like Chalice of the Void is something that I don't particularly see as being great. Ensnaring Bridge is also potentially bad, but maybe good. So if they're playing Eldrazi as finishers, it's good. If they're playing just like Ugins and All Is Dusts and more other Ugins as finishers, this is actually very bad, and I don't want it. I want to leave a bridge in the board to wish for. I want to leave the Spyglass to wish for. I think I'm just going to board in, or sorry, I want to leave the coding in here. I think I want to board in the Spyglass. And then I think I play either one bridge or just, like, bring a Ballista in. I think one bridge to hedge against large creatures is probably better. Trinisphere was also very bad. Turn 1 Moon. Keep. The rest of my hand is admittedly very medium. There is some argument there for actually imprinting a Spyglass, or sorry, imprinting a Fiery Confluence over the Simian Spirit Guide, so that I can use the Simian Spirit Guide to play a 4-drop if I happen to draw one this turn, or to like try to destroy the Expedition map if they try to get too cute with it. Pretty happy to have a Braid as a draw there. I mean, Force of Vigor would be pretty sick from our opponent. Get the Cloud Post. I will just be sending Fiery Confluences to the Dome this match. Especially since I have a Braid to like deal with a first sort of like artifact that's played out. So if my opponent has map, ancient stirrings, and crop rotation, I should probably play chalices when I'm on the play, I guess. It seems pretty medium, but it's certainly better than the Trinispheres that I left in my deck without really thinking about it. I still think since I have the Abrade, I'm just going to send this upstairs. I'm behind on board now. So I just need to kill my opponent before they get to 6 mana and can lock me out. And that's going to require drawing something like a Chandra or a Hazaret or a Goblin Rabble Master that can actually get in there for some damage. I wonder if my opponent has LED in their board. If they have LED in their board, they could guarantee that they got to lattice lock me next turn. Krosan Grip the Blood Moon. Sure. A Candelabra. Well, now things have gotten mighty interesting. So that produces 3. They can then go ahead and untap it. I'm going to send that at Karn. And then we'll have a Braid up for if my opponent decides to go and lattice lock me. I don't think I can blow up the Candelabra. I think that's too likely to lead to my instant demise. Ooh boy. Opponent will cast some big derpy planeswalkers or try to lattice lock me. I think that's their end game. Maybe even Emrakul. Who knows? Yeah, that's pretty okay. Sorcerer Spyglass would be pretty okay as a draw. Just throwing it out there. Pretty sure I've lost this game. I mean, I can play it, but it's not exciting. It lets me sneak the City of Traders into play, though, which I think matters. I thought that might be coming when my opponent floated the colorless. So I could abrade this expedition map. My opponent can't sacrifice it in response since they turned it into a creature. But I think I have to let that go. Again, trying to not lose the game immediately. I'm trying to lose it slowly. My Blood Moon has untapped their Cloud Post for them. I am so kind. Come on, just minus for the lattice. Let me have it and stop worrying about it. I would love to F6 through these turns, but I am a coward. Alright, so this will be the lattice. What? Okay, hold on. Can search library for a land card, put that onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle the library. Pay 1 billion mana, exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn without paying their costs. So is my opponent just like legit playing a 3/5 for the ability to search for like an Ayavugan off Karn? Because it feels like that's what's happening. Yeah, that is exactly what's happening. Is there going to be some dumb land that like makes 5 mana when they pump a bunch of colorless into it? No, it is just Ayavugan. So now I'm just going to lose to like actual factual Emrakul here. Well, maybe I don't need to play around Lattice Lock. Okay. Now, after seeing the matchup a little bit more, I do think Chalice is good. I think I will go ahead and play that. Trinisphere is still probably bad, and Snaring Bridge is probably bad. My Karn can search up Coding or Lattice as the primary things that it's going to do. That seems okay. And then I'm going to need to make 1 cut to round things out. It could just be that I put the Spyglass in the board to wish for it. But it seems quite powerful. Maybe I should just trim one of those. Or actually, maybe this is fine to get rid of. It's a good filler. And the emblems will stack against this sort of deck, but I think that deck is fast enough where this isn't a great thing to rely on. I can't make a turn 1 play. I have a very aggressive curve of Warboss into Berserker into Fiery Confluence, and I have to think if that's good enough to win this game. I am going to have an exceedingly fast Goldfish if I keep this. So turn 2, I attack for 1. Turn 2, I attack for 1. Turn 3, I get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I get 1, then 7, then 10, then dead. I think I keep this one. My opponent's Cloud Posts and Glacial Chasm could throw, like, a wrench in my plans. But I think this is just a good enough aggro hand that I want to keep it. It's also a hand with reach and interaction with artifacts, and I like that about it. I think this is going to be better than the average 6-card hand. I'm not sure how good of a draw a Braid is. It's not really what I'm looking for, but I'm certainly not complaining about it. Okay. Thinking. I have 4 mana this turn. Next turn I'll have 5 mana. Next turn I could Rabble Master or Scab Clan. Rabble Master makes it easier to go wide and means that Rabble Master deals a huge amount of damage. Scab Clan means that I get some passive damage when my opponent casts spells, even if they do something weird in combat. Scab Clan might represent more damage over time if things get weird. Goblin Rabble Master presents more immediate damage. I'm going to go ahead and play out the Scab Clan Berserker. I really would like this to become renowned before my opponent gets something like Maze of Ith. Scab Clan on its own also might just like put my opponent into Fiery Confluence range. Okay, opponent. Can you do that again? Ugh. Opponent's draw is absolutely insane here as far as like stonewalling what I'm trying to do. So I expect this will name Chandra Torch of Defiance, and I'll just abrade it. Chromox is not good here. This Ugin is a problem. attacking the Ugin doesn't really get me anywhere towards winning. I'm going to the dome. Let's see if we can make something work with Fiery Confluence. I need to keep my opponent off of ultimating this Planeswalker. That doesn't bode well for me. So this ults at 10. So I do need to turn and attack that now, unfortunately. So we're putting our opponent into dangerous territory. But my opponent gets to check my board, and the way the math is going to work out, like, they're going to get rid of one of these goblins, making it so that if I go and attack in with both, and if I attack in with one and then draw, say, Fiery Confluence, I'm not actually presenting lethal anymore. So I do not regret keeping this aggressive hand. Like, my opponent needed to have double Cloud Post plus Glimmer Close plus All is Dust to wipe my board on turn 3. And one more set of hits from those things would have meant that my opponent was dead. So, like, absolutely no regrets on keeping the aggressive hand. Chalice of the Void is a little late to the party here, and Ugin is going to ultimate, and I can't stop it. So what I can do is put a Chalice on 1 to some minimal effect and attack them for 1. Not really expecting to have outs here. So my opponent gets to search with Ioug, and then they have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Plus they get a billion draws. I assume that I will just die to Emrakul here. But we'll play out the last 30 seconds of the match. Let my opponent do their degenerate things. Ooh, it's Ulamog. So since I have a bunch of haste creatures in my deck, I'm not really willing to concede just yet. I'm 95% dead. But like a Goblin Rabblemaster in the Fiery Confluence, and my opponent not playing any more Glimmer Posts, maybe that does it. Never mind the, what is he, an 11-11 Hungry Boy who wants to take away 20 cards from my library? Sorry, 10-10 Hungry Boy. Right. That part that I was so concerned about 30 seconds ago, and then I kept talking and forgot about it. Yeah. All right, I don't think we're on any odds now. But I want to see what degenerate things my opponent can do to round out the stream. Oh, well, that's a lot of degenerate things. Now they have Emrakul, the Promise End bouncing, or Ulamog bouncing. Yeah, that's pretty good. Thespian Stage, copy Cloud Post, 10 mana. Oh, plus Candelabra. Alright, they just get Emrakul. It's boring. That's kind of a shame. So we started out 3-0 in that one, and then we ended up 3-2. Really like the list, though. List feels strong and well-balanced to me. Didn't do anything with this Ballista the entire time, so I'd be pretty happy with changing that into another Chandra, Awaken Inferno, before the next time that I played this deck. I was really on the fence about this card actually being good in the first place, and so I think I would just like another one of these for the slower control matchups that we're going to find, and just to have something else to sub out for when cards like Bridge, Moon, Chalice, or Trinisphere are bad in any given matchup. Let's take a minute and look at some Maverick deck lists, though, before I wrap things up. So there were two deck lists that I saw that I thought were interesting. The first is from Jetpack Blues. That was a Maverick Hex Drinker deck. So the idea being, like, you can use Hex Drinker plus Gaia's Cradle to just, like, turn that into something that's really obnoxious very quickly. I like that this deck list has, like, the same degree of utility that you're used to seeing from Maverick, and also double Palace Jailer. So this was a deck list that I liked. Then the other deck list I liked was from D. Neely from the Legacy Challenge. And this one was a little different looking. It had Elvish Reclaimers in the main deck. So as far as your graveyard-based synergies go, you have Elvish Reclaimer plus Knight of the Reliquary, and you have double Palace Jailer in this list as well, which honestly seems sweet. So you might expect it, but there's not actually the Dark Depths combo in here, despite there being like Elvish Reclaimer and Knight of the Reliquary. It's just a value-oriented engine that gives you more looks at like your good cards like Bojuka Bog, Horizon Canopy, Caracas, and Sajiri Step when necessary. So do people have any thoughts on which one of these deck lists you'd like to see on stream? I'm leaning towards this one. I think the ability to have greater access to your land-based bullets and like the ability to just turn this into a 3/4 very, very quickly probably makes this a strong, aggressive shell. But at the same time, Hex Drinker is kind of obnoxious. The only thing I don't like about this deck list is it has Vivian, Champion of the Wilds, and that doesn't really look like a playable Legacy card to me. So I would probably replace that with something like Choke or Sylvan Library or something like that. Not really sure how I feel about that card. So Blessed Alliance was something else that was suggested to slot into this deck. I'll give it some thought on the next couple of days. Hit me up on Twitter if you have any thoughts about that. So I think that's going to wrap up my stream for tonight. This is sort of like part 1 of a donation by Jesse M. Part 2 will be a video that I record this weekend talking about Red Prison sort of like as an archetype right now, some of its strengths, weaknesses, some of the considerations for deck building and sideboarding in a little bit more detail than what I normally do on the stream. Folks, I hope you enjoyed tonight. I'm going to turn you over to Susurrus MTG, who was playing the Mystic Forge combo deck that beat me earlier. Have a great rest of the night, everyone.